Hello everybody, my name is Casey and I'm going to be starting to do some videos on YouTube here around the PGA Tour. I love golf. I'm almost a scratch golfer. I've been out of one for about a year and trying to get that down. But yeah, I'd like to do kind of some prediction field videos for upcoming tournaments on the PGA Tour and then follow up with some recaps throughout the weekend of each of the events. I've always wanted to have a channel to watch with somebody discussing the PGA Tour, but haven't really found one that I love yet. So I thought I'd just bore everybody else and do it myself. So yeah, would love to get into it. This week's event is the John Deere Classic, and this is in Silvis, Illinois at TPC Deere Run. Looks like a beautiful course. I live in California, so I've gone to Riviera, Torrey Pines, Pebble Beach, up to just see. I haven't been able to play them yet, but I love attending those tournaments, the Pro-Am, the Farmers, and the Genesis. But I haven't been able to get out to any of the TPC courses, but this one looks especially fun. I'm sure if you've seen the videos from last year and the years prior, there's all the videos of all the players kind of messing around with the John Deere tractors. There's a giant one that it's like a giant putter that you put into a hole. Other one moves a tee or something like that. It just looks like a lot of fun. And I think the PGA Tour is doing a good job of trying to stay up to date, getting more people involved, especially with all the live stuff. There's a lot going on in the golf industry right now, but this tournament, kind of like the Waste Management, has concerts like Darius Rucker and Blake Shelton are performing at some point over the weekend. They have a Chick-fil-A day on Saturday. Just a bunch of other cool stuff. And looking at the map of the course, you can kind of see that there's a lot of different things to do. They got a ton of concession stands and things like that. It just looks like an awesome time. So let's see. Let's kind of get into it. I want to talk about the course a little bit and then talk about my picks. So I'm pulling up the scorecard here, and we can see really it's not a particularly difficult golf course. The length is just under 7,100 yards, which I know for any kind of regular player, it's like, oh, okay, not too bad. But for these guys, it seems kind of short. The rating is 74.7, slope at 135. The things that I'm really looking at are the three par fives on 2, 10, and 17. These holes are all very short par fives, 551, 581, and 550. Now, that could mean that they are going to be reachable. Most likely they are. I haven't seen the exact course layout, so they may need to have like some dog legs in there that may complicate it a bit. But overall, it's a relatively short course. And last year, I think the winner was at 21 under. So we're going to see some low scores, absolutely, as long as weather permits. Yeah, so they get started tomorrow around 7:45 Eastern time. So let's get into it. Let's talk about some of the players. So last year's winner of the John Deere Classic was JT Poston. I think there's definitely a possibility he can win this again. However, his performance this season hasn't really shown that so far. He's got quite a few missed cuts and more kind of finishing in the middle of the field. But that being said, he's an all-around solid player, and I think he can still do very, very well. The last time he did make a cut, though, was at the Memorial Tournament, which is about a month ago. So something to consider as well. You always hope that these guys, once they miss like a certain amount of cuts, that maybe they took a week off to go and practice a bit, get a lesson in, and get back out there. So hoping for the best for him. But to discuss my picks for the week, my number one this week is Cam Young. I watched his interview earlier today at the press conference, and a lot of questions were coming out about, like, how do you feel being in contention? Because he has been in contention several times now, but he has yet to win on the PGA Tour. So I think his time is coming any day now, whether it be this tournament or another tournament this season. I'm very positive that he's going to win this year. he is the highest ranked player in the field on the world rankings this week. So statistically, however you want to say it, he probably has the best odds to win. I think he was in contention at the US Open. He's been in contention at the other majors this season too. So he definitely has the ability to win this tournament. I think he's probably my number one pick. My second pick would be Nick Taylor. Now, it was a couple weeks ago that Nick Taylor won the RBC Heritage, which this was really cool to see because he was the first Canadian to do it in a long time. I think the last person to do it, and I could be getting this wrong, was Mike Weir years ago, or maybe I'm just remembering that because Mike Weir made the cut in this year's RBC Heritage, and I think he ended up playing by himself on the last day or two because one of his playing partners dropped out. That was really cool to see. Really cool to see a Canadian player take home that Canadian Tournament's trophy that week. So he's had a really solid year. I was looking at his stats from previous years, and this season has not compared at all to what he's done. He's having a great season, and I think he has a great opportunity to win the tournament or be in the top 10 for sure. Okay, so who else do I have here? Next, I have Adam Hadwin. Now, we all know Adam Hadwin from the RBC Heritage for being tackled by a security guard mistakenly, which was hilarious and awesome to see. And I'm glad that they played into that and made it really fun. But he also, last week during the Detroit tournament, he was in the three-way playoff with Colin Morikawa and Ricky Fowler. He definitely has the ability to be in contention with the rest of the crew. And it's been a while since he's won as well, but he's had several top 10s this season. And I think he's a real person who could win the tournament as well. So I think this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to have three of my picks, one wild card, and then one person who I really want to see do well. So my wild card for this week is Chaz Reavie. He's also had a pretty good season. He's had 2 top 10s so far this season. Other than that, he's finished in the field relatively high, so he's been doing pretty well. Also, he just seems like a really nice guy and a tough competitor, and I would love to see him win. So yeah, I'm rooting for him, and I hope he does super well. Now, this is where kind of the person that I want to win, I don't necessarily think they're going to, but I'm pulling for them, is Joel Damon. Now, I know everybody's thinking like, yes, everybody loves Joel Damon. We saw him in the Netflix documentary. Everyone wants to have a beer with this dude. He's awesome. And he's okay with being the 60th ranked player in the world or whatever it was that he said. But he has not made a cut since May. And I think once you kind of hit that month, 6-week mark of not missing a cut, it's got to be weighing on you quite a bit. So I'm hoping that maybe last week, since he didn't make the cut in Detroit, he was able to work some things out coming into this week with a fresh perspective. Now being able to jump back into things, reminding himself like, no, I am one of the top players in the world and I can be. So he's the one I'm really pulling for this week as well. So other than that, I think that's all I kind of wanted to talk about. This is my first video doing this. I'm going to make many more. But yeah, I plan on kind of doing some recap videos after the rounds. If I can do a couple of them, awesome, throughout the weekend, but we'll kind of see how it goes. So as they say in YouTube, like and subscribe, and yeah, we'll see you next time.